The first step is disconnect the negative battery terminal using an 8mm socket. Disconnect the positive terminal. Now we wait about 15 minutes for all the power to drain. We'll need to get in behind the dash to remove some wiring and reconnect, so we'll remove the bottom panel there using a 7mm socket. Now remove the two bolts from up behind the bonnet latch. Lower the bonnet latch out of the way and pull the panel out from the bottom. Now we have that off, we remove the metal plate which has 4 8mm bolts. Remove the 4 bolts and take the panel away. Then we can see where the wiring is that we'll have to access and remove from its plug. It's now time to remove the steering wheel. Just behind the steering wheel there are 2 small round caps. You need to get a small screwdriver behind those and pop them out, and then unscrew the 2 bolts behind them, one on either side. Now we need to very carefully remove the airbag component and place it face up on a bench. There's one wire behind it that needs to be unplugged for removal. Use a T50 socket to remove the steering wheel bolt. After we loosen the bolt holding the steering wheel on, we then need a 2-leg puller to remove and loosen the steering wheel. Set your puller up with the 2 legs behind the steering wheel in the positions where it says pull, and tighten the centre of your puller down onto the steering wheel bolt and turn until your steering wheel comes loose. Then remove the bolt and the steering wheel, remembering to unplug the wires before you do so. Before removing the steering wheel, make sure there's an alignment mark on the steering column so that you can line it up in exactly the same position. Now we need to remove the plastic surround from the steering column itself. There are 3 Phillips head screws to remove to access the wiring behind. Before removing the steering column plastic surround, we need to unscrew the tilt lever. Now just pop the bottom part off. The top section can also be removed with a little jiggling. Tricky bit here Place the key in the ignition. You have to remove the lock or the barrel. Place the key in the ignition, turn it around to run. There's a small hole on the barrel. Use something pointy, like a screwdriver, pointy screwdriver. Place it in the hole and push it up, and then just remove the whole barrel of the ignition. For the next part, we need a T20 socket or screwdriver to remove the screw that holds the black plastic surround onto the ignition. Simply remove that screw. Then carefully pull off the little black box and the plastic surround. Now from the ignition barrel, there we have to remove this little blue connector. Be careful not to break the clip on the back. Before removal of the clock spring, we have to unplug the yellow wiring harness from beneath the dash, below the instrument panel. There are two plugs there that have to come out. Use a flat bladed screwdriver to pry the old switches out of the mounting holes. Once you've done that, simply unplug the two plugs. Now for removal of the clock spring, simply look for the 3 plastic clips holding it on behind. Once the clips have been released, the clock spring slides off. Simply remove it with its wiring harness. One removed clock spring.